In this video, I'm going to give you a method that you can follow to help you learn more effectively so that you can save time and frustration along the way and hopefully pass the GED faster so that you can move ahead. I call this the champions model here, and it all starts with learning that material, which you're going to learn that material through things like textbooks, or if you're not using a textbook or maybe you can't afford one, you can get the material through YouTube like what you're doing right now. The second step is really the most important step, and that step is to test yourself. So testing yourself would mean if you're watching one of my videos, for example, I often tell people to pause and try a practice problem, and then after they pause and try it themselves, I often will walk people through how to do it. And so that would be an example of testing yourself. Another example would be if you're using a textbook. Obviously, you read a chapter and then you try those practice problems that they build into the textbook for you. But this is really the key, and if you find yourself struggling though with those practice problems, then you want to go back to the phase 1 again and go back up to the lesson, whether you're watching a video, rewatch the lesson, or reread the part of the textbook that's going to explain how to do it. And the reason you're testing yourself is just to check whether or not you're understanding something, because it's so easy to hear something or to read something and think you understand it, but you really don't know if you do unless you test yourself. And so another way to do this would be to practice teaching out loud. So if you've got kids maybe, or if you've got, it can be a dog, it can even be the wall, go somewhere quietly and just think, how could I explain this out loud to somebody if I was going to teach this to them? And if you try to teach somebody how to add fractions or something like that and you stumble and you're unsure how to do it, then you probably don't know it as well as you think you do, in which case you'd want to go back to step 1, which is learning. When you first start learning things, right, if you don't repeat them, you may not remember them. And so the good news though is that fortunately, the more you focus while you're learning and the more that you put your full attention on what you're doing and test yourself on it, the better things are going to stick for you. So you might not have to do as much repetition, because if you really encode something deeply, you don't need to sit there and do thousands of mindless repetitions necessarily. But a good way to do the repetition here would be to take notes as you study, and then every couple days just review your notes or so, every couple days, once or twice a week. This way you'll just refresh yourself on what you've learned. And you might be wondering, well, how long do I keep this up for? Well, the answer is as long as it takes for you to go in there and ace your test. Hopefully this was helpful for you. It all comes down to these 4 basic steps right here. You want to learn the material from books, textbooks, or maybe you're taking a class, however you're doing it. You want to test yourself to make sure you understand it. If you don't understand it, you go back and relearn it, and then you do repetition as much as it takes to make it stick, and you keep this up until you can go in there and pass that test. Thank you for watching.